the trial is getting underway for the former Illinois deputy accused of killing a black woman inside her home last year. Deputy Grayson has since been fired, but his checkered past, including his discharge for misconduct from the Army, raising more questions on how he was able to continue working in law enforcement. Grayson was charged with first-degree murder, aggravated battery with a firearm, and misconduct. If convicted, he could face 45 years to life in prison. Joining me now is the author of Killing Time with John Wayne Gacy, trial attorney Karen Conti. Karen, good morning to you. This trial was relocated because of all of the national attention it got. How is that going to impact jury selection today?
Well, it's good for the defendant because this, in Springfield, Illinois, which is our capital, it was such a widely publicized case that getting a fair trial was going to be very, very difficult. Peoria is a little bit more of a diverse community, so it might be better for the prosecution. But generally speaking, you're going to find better impartial jurors in Peoria, which is about 2.5 hours south of Chicago.
There is some body camera video. We're watching part of it here of the shooting. It's pretty disturbing to watch. How does that potentially hurt the defense here?
Well, this is all captured on video. And what you see, at least what I see, is that there was no de-escalation. So they go in, they know that the woman has some mental health issues. She goes to take a boiling pot of water off the stove. And the police officer, she says something to the police officer. And instead of de-escalating, which our law requires the police to do now, they sort of move forward and shoot her. What was she an imminent threat to them from a serious bodily harm standpoint? That's what the jury is going to have to decide. Was it imminent? Was she fleeing an arrest? No, she wasn't. Was she a danger to them? And were they entitled to use this deadly force?
You mentioned some of the mental health issues. We do know that Sonya Massey had been dealing with some mental health issues. She had checked herself into a 30-day program shortly before this shooting, but she eventually left after just a couple of days. Reports say, though, that this officer involved here didn't know about her mental health background. So how much of that will be allowed to be part of this trial?
Interestingly, the judge ruled that it will not be part of the trial. There were prior calls because even her family called on her saying, can you take care of her because she's not well? But it's going to be very limited as to what the jury is going to get to hear because the court is saying that, what happened on that day had nothing to do with her mental illness. It had to do with what the police officer reasonably thought was going to happen. And again, our law is very clear now, and it's changed in the last 4 years, where it says that if someone's of harm to themselves, that's not sufficient reason to use deadly force. So the question is going to be, when she was taking that pot off the stove, did she present a risk of serious bodily harm to the police officers or of death to them? And that is the key, and that's what the jury instructions are going to read.
What kind of a precedent could this case set for police officers across the nation?
Well, these split decisions need to be made by police officers, and nobody wants to be in that situation. However, it just seems to me that this police officer maybe needed more training. And this idea of de-escalating before shooting a gun is very, very important. And my guess would be that his training was not sufficient to allow him a cooler thought, which is de-escalate. Could he have just even left the apartment? That probably would have been the best thing to do here, the best outcome. So I think we're going to see more training. We're going to see more rigorous training because nobody likes to see someone go to jail for murder. On the other hand, what happened here seems pretty outrageous.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.